Hello everybody, welcome to my video, this video. Today we'll be talking about my top 5 tips. If I were to go back in time and tell myself when I first started playing Monster Hunter, particularly this game, Monster Hunter Wilds, and yeah, what would I say? What would I say? As you guys can tell from the title, I'm not the best player, okay? As you can probably tell from the gameplay as well, right? I'm an average, maybe a little bit above average player. I'm nothing special, okay? I'm not breaking any records. I'm not in Monster Hunter Wilds esports team, if there even is one. But yeah. So let's get into it. So my first tip is use your mount. So obviously, as you already would know, there's a new, the old Monster Hunter World had mounts, but they weren't as interactive as these new ones in this new game. And so basically, you can actually use your mount throughout a fight. So, you know, and there's been countless times when I've been playing and, you know, you whistle your mount and it just gets you out of trouble. You can go run away and heal or sharpen your weapon or whatever. And also the cool thing is, you can actually switch between weapons, your secondary and primary weapons. So, for example, my primary is a greatsword, and then my secondary is a bowgun, heavy bowgun. So what I try and do is, you know, I'll get in nice and close with the greatsword and do some good damage and whatever. And then when I'm kind of feeling a little bit overpowered, I suppose, by the monster or whatever, I call in my mount, get on, switch over my heavy bowgun, and kind of play a little bit like a guerrilla warfare kind of style, I suppose. Kind of, you know, sit back and poke. Put my pierce rounds on, or whatever round you're using, just poke from a distance, and then once I use all that, I'll switch. Once I use all my like wyvern ammo and all that sort of stuff, I'll switch back to my greatsword. And yeah, I find that it's just really helpful. You know, like it can seriously get you out of some very dodgy situations, as you possibly may see in the gameplay in the background at some point. Yeah, so that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is don't be afraid to try something new. Right, so when I first started playing Monster Hunter, which was Monster Hunter World, for me was probably about 2 years ago. It came out in I want to say 2018. Don't quote me on that. And yeah, I played it, I loved it. It was an awesome game. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I'm the kind of guy who picks, you know, heavy damage dealing weapons. You know, yeah, your hammers, your great swords. I love it. It's just how I like to play the game. And while that's good, while you need to find, you know, what you enjoy, I think it's also important to try something new. So when I started playing Wilds, I kind of had that same mentality, and I obviously, as you can see right now in this clip, I started using the heavy bowgun, and it is awesome. I love it. It's so much fun. Like I was saying earlier, you can find some really cool combinations with play styles. I suppose, like as I was saying before, you know, getting close, deal big damage with a greatsword or a hammer or whatever it is, then pull back and use something like the bow, heavy bowgun, light bowgun, whatever it is. Just don't be afraid to kind of branch out your knowledge, for the lack of a better word, because it can be really refreshing. It can honestly make it feel like a completely different game. But yeah, so that's my second tip. Do not be afraid to try something new. Now, tip number 3 is don't forget the importance of sharpening your weapon. Okay, this is something that I neglect a fair bit, especially when I first started playing. But if you're using a weapon like, I don't know, great sword or any of the swords in the game for that matter, you need to make sure that you are sharpening that weapon, because you see, I don't know if you can see, but in the top left, there's a little line, right? Like there's a little line in the blade kind of bit. But yeah, that is extremely important, because it directly affects the amount of damage that you deal. When you hit like kind of like a crit spot on a monster, obviously, as you can see there with my bowgun, the numbers are yellow, so that obviously indicates that it's a critical spot. When your sharpness dip, I believe, okay, don't quote me on this is just what I think. I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure that when your sharpness dips below that middle line, you can no longer deal crit spots. And obviously the higher that gauge is, the more damage you deal. And yeah, this obviously helps with things like cutting off limbs, like tails and that sort of thing. But yeah, tip number 3, make sure you sharpen your damn weapon, people. Okay, that is a must. Now, tip number 4, you need to get used to the new mechanic that is the focus points. Because I'm telling you now, these are a game changer. These focus points, I still forget they exist, but they are awesome. Okay, they are very cool. If you don't know what that is, when you deal damage on a monster, so say if you were focusing the leg of a monster, right? If you keep hitting it over and over and over again, it's going to create a wound. And basically, what that is, it's a little like a red kind of glow around the limb. And on Xbox, it's you hold LT and then you press RB to do a focus strike, which does a lot. It instantly gets you a broken. I don't know if you just saw it there, but I'll probably try and freeze it. But there was just a little red spot on that monster. Yeah, which is the wound, which is a focus point. And when you do that focus move, it does so much. It does a lot of damage. Sometimes even like stunning the monster, knocking it down. Yeah, it's just a really, it's very satisfying as well, because it's just, I don't know, just the way the animation is. But yeah, it's cool. It's a very good mechanic, and you need to get used to that. But yeah, okay, that's tip number 4. The 5th tip is the implementation. Well, not the. I shouldn't say the implementation, but the use of charms and talismans and mantles, for that matter, as well. Right. So I know for me, in my personal experience, when I was playing this game, I was so focused on kind of getting to the next monster and upgrading my gear to the newer stuff, right? And I forgot that talismans exist, right? And talismans are basically things that you can. Are they talismans or charms? I don't know. It's whatever the ones that you put on your armor, right? So you obviously go into your loadout and you go to your armor, your weapon, and you put these. I'm gonna say charms. I hope I'm not wrong, but charms, you put them on and they give your weapon or armor kind of like boosts. You know, they might be an attack boost, a defense boost, an element boost, so you can get like on your arm you can get like fire resistance charms, water resistance, ice resistance. I know there's things that also kind of like reduce the amount of stamina that's used in diving or jumping or whatever. There's just a heap of different stuff. But yeah, they're super important to just give you that 1% kind of edge. If you know what I mean, like, you know, and I'm pretty sure you can actually upgrade them. Yeah, I think you can upgrade your charms and your talismans. And yeah, and mantles as well. I know at this point in time I've only actually unlocked one mantle, but it's kind of it. I know that it's like a recovery mantle. No, it's called a mending mantle, and I haven't used it, but the description basically says, you know, like it helps you recover over time. I think. Don't quote me. Again, I'm not an expert. Okay, I'm just your average Joe. Okay, so please lay off me. But yeah, that is my 5th tip. I hope you guys get some, I don't know, hope these are helpful for some people. Obviously I know it's probably not the best tips, but yeah, I'm nothing special at this game. I just enjoy it. I like killing big monsters with big weapons. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. Cheers.